If I end up turning bright red in this video later on, I just want to apologize in advance. My genes decided to say you 2 times by giving me both ridiculous Asian glow and a slight allergy to alcohol. But not to worry, it's only if I have too much, and this is just sangria, so I'm not going to die. Yet. Hello, and welcome to my fanfiction tropes tier ranking video. If you have seen any of my god knows how many other fanfiction videos, then you have probably been waiting for this one. It's been a long time coming. I saw this tier ranking trend on Twitter a few months back, and then a YouTuber I really like, the incomparable Read with Cindy, did her own video ranking the fanfiction tropes, so this video was inspired by her. If you would like some quality booktube content, book recommendations, and rants, Cindy is incredibly witty and hilarious, and she is just who I want to be when I grow up. It warms my heart when I see other Vietnamese people succeeding, Viet Squad for life. But yes, today is the day you will learn all about all the different types of fanfiction I love to read. Also, I designed fanfiction and shipping trope stickers for my store, so I'll be slapping these bad boys on my forehead throughout the video. If you like any of them, consider buying them. It really makes me happy because I am quite happy with how they turned out. Here's a chibi of me reading some AO3. Also, a huge thank you to today's sponsor, Function of Beauty. Function of Beauty offers one-of-a-kind, entirely customizable hair care, tailored precisely to all your hair needs. Their shampoos and conditioners are 100% vegan, sulfate-free, and cruelty-free. All you have to do is take a quick quiz outlining your hair type, hair goals, and pick a scent and colors you like. One of my personal favorite products is their hair serum, which leaves your hair looking smooth, shiny, and ready for that summer sun. If you use my link in the description, you can get 20% off your custom order. Available in the US, Canada, Great Britain, Europe, Australia, New Zealand, and more. Also, you can see from my luscious, super straight, long hair that it has been doing wonders for me. I've been using it for, I want to say, over a year now, and I'm very, very, very happy with the results. I even hooked my mom on it, people. My hair smells like peaches, citrus, oranges, summertime. So if you're interested in some great hair care, then check out Function of Beauty's amazing offer in the description. So without further ado, guys, time to expose myself. Okay, so we got the 5 tiers here. We got S tier, which slaps. A tier is yes, would read 100%. B tier is yeah, sure, I like it. C tier is not opposed to it, but it depends on my mood. And D tier is I don't really read it. I will say though, D tier does not equal I will never read this in my life. It's just I have to be convinced to read it. I'm not really drawn to it naturally. Okay, so I'm gonna rank the ones I feel the most strongly about first, and I'm just gonna say that this is really depressing, but Unrequited Love, I'm putting an S tier. Makes me so sad and so freaking frustrated, but I can never stop reading them. And then not too far behind is Mutual Pining, because pining is the friggin' best. God, it's just something pulls at your heart when they're both like, oh, they'll never love me. Oh, they're too good for me. Oh, why can't they see what I see in them? It's so good. It's so good. The feels just punch you in the gut and make you like explode. Yeah, if a fic doesn't have mutual pining in it, then I need a little convincing, because that is a god tier trope right there. Another trope that I really enjoy is, of course, soulmate AUs. There are so many variations of the soulmate AU. You got your classic red string of fate that connects the two, and sometimes they're like, oh wow, my soulmate, I'm so glad to see you, and other times it's like, oh god, you're my soulmate, why? It's even better when the red string tightens and shortens when they're mad at each other, so it forces them to make up. Or when they can kind of tug on the string to see if they're okay, and then it's really, really, really depressing when the string gets cut because one of them frickin' dies. Then of course you got the write something on your wrist and it shows up on your soulmate's wrist and it's like, hi, how are you? Or here's my number, or send nudes. There's others where you can hear your soulmate's thoughts, where pain is transmitted between soulmates. Like if you get a bruise, your soulmate also gets a bruise. It's so diverse and you never have any shortage of soulmate AU fics. My forehead may get super red from ripping these stickers off of it. Welp, let's see, what other things do I like? Oh no, okay, miscommunication. Some people really don't like it because it's frustrating to them, and I agree, it can be hella frustrating, but I don't know why. But let's say, like, I don't know, there's mutual pining going on, but one of them thinks that the other one has a boyfriend or girlfriend, and they're like, oh no, like, I have feelings for them, but they're never gonna see me that way. And they're like, the other person's trying to get their attention, but they're like, no, you have another partner. I can't. And it's like, oh God. There's a Hanahaki AU I read where one of them overheard the other saying, oh, I don't see him like that. He's like a little brother to me. I can never kiss him. But he was saying that to convince himself he didn't have feelings for him. But the other guy heard, and he had Hanahaki, consequently, and almost died because of it. So yeah, I really like miscommunication for some reason. That sounds so bad. I love miscommunication. No, just in fiction. Magic AUs are also a lot of fun. I am a hoe for an urban magic AU. It's so good. Like, magical realism is my God, like if one of them's a witch, for instance, and I have to team up to solve this problem, and they're like going to the boba shop one moment, and then they're in the forest doing spells in the next, it's so good. Along a similar vein, fairy tale AUs I would consider S tier. I love myself a good fairy tale. Whether it's an original fairy tale or if it's a retelling of a classic fairy tale AUs always just hit right. College AUs are also S tier because it's like the college experience I never had. I can just read romanticized versions of what I could have been doing in college instead of what I was actually doing. No, I'm not bitter. All right, here we go. Love triangle I'm putting into D tier because I think that they're incredibly overdone. Typically with fan fiction, they end up having like another main character turn out to be the other love interest, and sometimes their characterization gets turned way on its head. I don't like when that happens, and also I'm reading the fic for my pairing of choice. I don't want other people thrown in there for drama. Like, no, have the drama be environmental or like within the character, not with other people. Like, oh God, come on. That being said, it's totally valid if you enjoy love triangle. Personally, I just think they're overdone. Okay, so this may be a tad bit controversial, but you know what? I'm gonna expose myself. I actually enjoy ABO very much. I just think it's hot. I'm not a furry, but ABO is an A in my book. Coffee shop AU, I'm gonna put in A tier as well. I'm torn because part of me's like, put it in S, but it's like, I love coffee shop AUs, but I haven't read any as of late that really stood out to me. Like, the ones that really stood out to me were like way in my past, but I still really enjoy a good coffee shop AU. If only my actual love life could be like a coffee shop AU. High school AU, sorry. Like, I don't hate high school AUs, but it's been a hot second since I've been in high school, and I was never really like, I want my high school experience to be romanticized. It was just a time in my life that I didn't give a ton of thought to. So, yeah, high school in general just never was really appealing for me, and I'm not really interested in seeing my favorite characters as underage children, so high school AUs, not for me personally. Established relationship, I'm gonna go ahead and put in C tier because usually I like reading fics where they get together, but if there is a situation where they're already together and they're fighting like a bigger conflict, for instance, then established relationship I do enjoy. Friends to lovers is an easy A tier. I dare say I like it better than enemies to lovers. The development from like, you know, like, oh, like we've known each other for so long, like, God, like I don't have a straight up friends to lovers sticker, but I do have childhood friends. It's the growth, that slow realization of like, oh shoot, I see them as more than just this person who's super, super important to me. I mean, they're already important to me, but it's just another layer to it. And it's not to invalidate actual like best friend relationships either, because actual friendships are so beautiful and they're so underrated. It doesn't have to be like friends to lovers all the time, but if it is a relationship going from friends to lovers, it's just so sweet. It's always so sweet. And usually like mutual pining is thrown in there, and sometimes it's unrequited love for a bit, but oh, it's so good. Shoot, I forgot to show off my other stickers for college AU, high school AU, and coffee shop AU. Take a good look, kitties. Here they are. Bada bing, bada boom. And then up next we have enemies to lovers. I'll put it in A tier. I'm kind of torn because I'm like, I don't read it super often, and I was like, should I put it in B tier? But you know what? The ones I have read were hella good, so enemies to lovers I think does belong in A, because God, that development too. Oh, especially if it's like enemies to friends to lovers, it's like, oh no, he's hot. Hurt comfort is an easy S tier. That's also something that just pulls at my guts. I don't know what it is, but it makes me want to curl up in a ball and cry on the floor. So slow burn. Slow burn I'm gonna put in C tier as well, because it's not a trope that I would go for on my own. I usually have to be convinced to read a slow burn, because as rewarding the payoff is when they finally get together, and it's really cool to see that build up to that point, I'm just really freaking impatient. It's like, okay, I could read a slow burn where it takes them 200,000 words to even kiss, or I could read a 10k PWP and call it a night. But when slow burn is done well, it is very, very good. I'm watching it burn. Fake relationship is kind of on the same vein as slow burn. It's not something that I actively seek out, and I'm not really drawn to it, but if it's done well, then I have no qualms reading it. It's just, I don't know, it's just, people really like it, but it's frustrating in the wrong ways for me. And personally, I think it's a little overdone too, but I'm also saying that I love coffee shop AUs, and that's like the most basic AU out there, so I'm a hypocrite. In Vino Veritas, I do not speak Spanish, I apologize, but Drunken Confession. Ooh, that's A tier right there. Gosh, just the idea of like all the feelings bubbling up, and then you're drunk and your inhibitions are dampened and you just can't hold it in anymore, and you're like, I had feelings for you for I don't know how long, and then the other person's like, what? It's just golden. I'm passionate about fanfiction, guys, I'm sorry. And there was only one bed. Oh gosh, that is an easy A tier. It's usually when some revelations happen, when they're both just laying there and they're both like, shoot, this is kind of intimate. Oh no, are these feelings in my tummy? And that is where the mutual pining begins. Body swaps I enjoy more than I should, and unfortunately I don't get to read them as often as I used to, because the fandoms I kind of read for nowadays don't have a lot of body swaps that I'd read, so I'm gonna put that A tier, and I just want to say I have a shortage of those, so if you have any good body swap AUs, then let me know where they are, because it has been a hot second since I've read a body swap AU. Huddle for Warmth is like sharing a bed's cousin, and I haven't read a lot for Huddle for Warmth, but I will say it's B tier by default, because even though I don't think it's as good as sharing a bed, it's still the same principle, right? Sharing a bed I think is a little more versatile, so that's why it's higher in my book. Sex Pollen. Ooh. I think I'm gonna put that B tier, because at first I was like, oh yeah, total A tier, but I don't know, it's not something that I'm really gung-ho about reflecting on it further, because it's like, oh shoot, that's pretty hot, but I don't know, it can be a little non-con sometimes, and that's a no-no for me. But at the same time, when it's done right, it is done right. So I do enjoy it. It's not something I'm like kind of like on, like I actually really do enjoy it, but I haven't come across any that I've been like, oh my god, this is the best fic ever lately, so I'm gonna put it in B tier. Oh, arranged marriage. This is a tricky one. I am really torn between A and B, because I like arranged marriage fics, and like I've read a good number of them. You know what, I'll put it in A tier. I'll be kind. I was a little conflicted because I've read quite a number of bad arranged marriage fics, and it kind of tainted my view of it a little bit, but I think the good outweighs the bad here, and you could do a lot with a good arranged marriage fic. Arranged marriage and miscommunication tend to go hand in hand, so it'd be a crime if I didn't put it in A. First kiss, I'll put it in D. Like, it's really cute, don't get me wrong, and if it's like involved with the fic, like I'm all for it, but if it's just about their first kiss, it's boring for me, personally. Amnesia fic. I'm gonna put that in B, because it's similar to arranged marriage, where I've read a lot of bad amnesia fics, but there have been a chunk of really, really good ones that I still can remember super clearly to this day. And I do enjoy amnesia fics, but when they're done poorly, it comes off as very cliche. Missing scenes, I'm gonna put in C tier, because it's not really something that I usually search for, but if the summary's intriguing, I'll check it out. Same thing for Bang or Die, like they can get really spicy and like really good, but it's not like one of my favorite dirtier tropes. And again, sometimes it kind of hinges on non-con, and non-con is like a no for me. Canon Divergence, I'm gonna put This is tricky because by default, almost all the fanfiction I read is Canon Divergence. So should that be S tier then? Because yeah, I rarely read anything that goes like in line with canon. God, that's really sad. And similarly, fix-it fanfics are like the cousin to Canon Divergence because it's basically just patching up things that people didn't like in canon. So, I guess I should put that in A then because like I don't really actively like read fix-it fics, but by default, a lot of the fics I read are fix-it fics, if that makes sense. Crossovers, that's something I have not read in a very long time, probably since God, like middle school. I don't know, just after 8th grade, they stopped appealing to me so much. I mean, in middle school, I freaking loved them, but I'm gonna go ahead and put that in C. Baby fic and pregnancy fic, I'm gonna put in C because it can be really cute. They're just kind of bland for me, and I'm not gonna be like, oh, I really want to read a baby fic today. It's just like, oh, if they're already in the story, great, I'll read it. But if it's by itself, but I do like them better than the bottom 3 here. Genfic I'm also gonna put in D because I haven't read a genfic in a very long time and they're just a little boring for me. I need some spice in my food. It doesn't have to be super spicy. I don't need the whole dang spice rack, but a little would be nice. My computer is overheating because it is freaking hot in here, so I might have to speed run through these last ones. Ugh. Okay, so Royalty AU, easy A tier, very, very good. Whether they're both royals, one of them's royal, one of them's not. If it's a knight in a royal, if it's historical, if it's modern, there's so many good variations of Royalty AU. Historical AU, I will put B tier because I like it a little less than Royalty AU, but still it can be hella good. However, something that does irk me with historical is that, let's say the characters are Japanese and it takes place in the 1700s, and then they'll be wearing like Western style clothes and it's like in England. It's like, no, that's not what I'm reading this for. Unhappy ending, I'm gonna put in A tier because as horribly angsty as it sounds, unhappy endings just hit different. They punch you in the nuts in the best possible way. Time loop, I'm also gonna put A tier because I do enjoy a good time loop. Actually, no, scratch that. I'm gonna put that in B because time loops can get boring if it's like, oh, it's just like I'm making coffee and reading the newspaper and I go to school and I come back and it's the same day over and over again. It's more interesting if the day actually has a significant event, unless the relationship really shines, in which case it could be really intriguing, but I'm gonna keep it at B. Fluff, I'll put at C. I know, it sounds bad. Like, I love fluff, don't get me wrong, but I just don't read a lot of it just because I'm filled with young adult angst. But no, because, like, okay, fluff by itself is a C tier, but if it's with other things, it's, like, easily an A tier. So I'm gonna average it out and put it in B tier, because if there is fluff in the story already, then hell yes. But if it's just fluff, I need a little more than just fluff. Humor, I'm gonna put in B tier as well, because, like, I don't read fics that are straight up humor, but if it's involved in the fic, then yeah, of course I want some comedy in my fics. But if the humor doesn't hit, if it's not like my vibe of humor, then PWP, that is spicy. I'm gonna put that in B tier as well. I like a little backstory with my smut, at least. I don't just want to read the smut. It's just not my thing. It's boring. But like, PWP could be pretty hot. So as long as there's like a little more meat on the bone than just them going at it, then yes, like, will do. But just the smut by itself is boring. Major character death, I will put at shoot, because I'm torn between B and A as well, because I love me a good major character death, but it hurts, and it's not the type of hurt that I like. I'll put it in B tier, because, like, unhappy ending is a little different than major character death in my book. Like, I didn't put on my forehead, damn it. Major character death, like, if they just kill someone off for the shock value, that's not it. But if there's good build up to it, then 100% yes. That is good angst in my book. And speaking of angst, I'm gonna put at A. A for angst. It just makes sense. A lot of the things in the top tiers are angsty, so it wouldn't make sense if we put angst lower. However, angst needs to be propped up well. If it's just like, oh, I'm angsty because that's who I am, No. Give me backstory. Give me a reason why you are angsty and why the relationship maybe is angsty or this whole thing is angsty. If you just say you're angsty, that's not gonna cut it. Crackfic, I'm gonna put at C because yeah, they could be really funny. It's like if all your favorite characters worked at McDonald's or something. But yeah, I just personally like reading more serious fics because I'm an adult and I'm a serious person. But Crack's okay. If it seems interesting enough, then I'll go for it. But otherwise, it's not really my genre of choice. And finally, Darkfic. I guess I'll put you at B? Because a lot of this stuff appears dark, and again, wouldn't make sense if I put it lower. Darkfic's by itself, like, if it's just like, oh, this is dark, and oh, this is so edgy and cool, it's not gonna do it. There has to be substance behind the darkness. There has to be a reason for the darkness. You can't just say, oh, this is dark. You gotta show me the darkness. You gotta pull me into the darkness. But that's my tier list. Ta-da! But wait, there's more. Read with Cindy actually did another tier ranking list with even more tropes, and some of them are pretty dirty. So if you stuck around this long, then I'll let you see that real quick. I'm gonna speed run it and then show you guys. Alright, here's my list. Feel free to kink shame me. God, I wish aliens were included on here. I will leave a link to the tier maker in the description if you want to make your own ranking, and then if you want, share with me on Twitter or something. I made my friends do it, and it was really interesting seeing all the differences, and we were like, oh, why is this here and why is that there? And I think it's a good conversation starter, honestly, with the friends that you know read fanfiction. Don't do this with your normie friends. They're probably gonna be really confused. Also, if you're interested, I do post a list of fanfic recommendations on my Patreon every Sunday, and it's only $3 a month if you want to have access to it. I just rant about why I like the fanfics I like, and then I post about 10 to 12 different fics from different fandoms. So if you want to read some good fics in my opinion and want to know the stuff I read, then yeah, consider donating to my Patreon. Thank you very much for watching this video, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye! 안녕.